Hey Sainers, welcome back to another Trade Talk video on the Saints TV YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to go through what St Kilda list manager James Gallagher mentioned this morning when he was on the AFL Trade Radio's trade feed. I've had a lot of messages since then based on what he mentioned. Gives a bit of an update on Brad Hill, Hunter Clark, a bit on Jordan Goey, as well as Ben Long. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So this is basically what James Gallagher, the St Kilda list manager, has said about these players. We'll start off with Hunter Clark. He said, Hunter Clark is under contract with us. He's incredibly talented. He's a good lad, and we love having him around the club. We'd be really reluctant to trade him, mainly through injury. We haven't seen the best of him yet. He's a young player. He's an emerging player. His best years are ahead of him. I'd expect that he'd be with us next year and hopefully for a long time beyond that. So that's positive news for Hunter Clark from James Gallagher, the list manager of St Kilda. I mentioned briefly, I think yesterday, in the Jordan Goey video that based on all of the, the Alistair Clarkson sort of controversy that dropped recently, that he would potentially do a bit of a backflip, and obviously the deals, I think with any club that's trying to deal with North Melbourne at the moment, it's going to be a bit slower. It may or may not happen with Hunter Clark. It wasn't the sort of situation where he was destined to always be traded. It was just kind of something that kind of circulated a couple of weeks ago, whether there was any suitors, and it depended on the offer that we could get in return, obviously. So if it didn't suit us, it was never going to happen because he is contracted. And now with all the Clarko stuff going on and the investigations and the fact that he's possibly not going to coach at all next year, I think has put this sort of decision on the back burner. So at this stage, I think Hunter Clark is more likely to stay than leave. He's still overseas, I believe. So we'll know more next week when the trade period opens. But at this point, and what James Gallagher has mentioned, I think it's pretty confident that at least Hunter Clark will stick around for at least another year and see out that contract. And then in a year's time, we'll see what happens. He also went straight into Brad Hill, and he says, and he was pretty firm about this, I do expect him to stay. I've spoken to Hilly quite a bit. He's played some really good footy for us at times. He may have been a little bit inconsistent in the back half of the year, but he had some mates as well that were in the same boat. Absolutely. We need to find a way to get the absolute best out of Brad for 20 or 22 weeks of the year. And we think that with some tweaks to personnel, the way we play, improvements in the program, and the growing maturity of our group, we're really confident that we'll be able to do that. A lot of his weapons are not replaceable in AFL footy. His running is absolutely exceptional. He has the ability to play in a few different parts of the ground, and he's quite unselfish with his running and coverage for his teammates. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves. We've all taken a breath at the end of the year and critically assessed how the back end of the season went. We've all got a bit of improving to do. I'd be expecting him to play with us next year, and beyond that, I reckon we'll see the best of Brad Hill. So that's news on Brad Hill. Again, one that was linked to North Melbourne and not really any other suitors. And again, because of the Clarko stuff going on, I really feel like that's again put his decision on the back burner, because the main reason for him even being linked to North Melbourne was essentially solely to, reestablish that player-coach relationship with Alistair Clarkson, which obviously is probably not going to happen, at least for the next 6 to 12 months with everything that's going on there. So it's no surprise that I think those two players in particular, Hunter Clark and Brad Hill, are more likely now to stick around than leave. It depends on what that does for us. And, obviously with Hunter Clark, we were looking at possibly some draft picks in return. Brad Hill, up in the air on what we could get there. But at this point in time, based on what James Gallagher has mentioned, it looks like those two are definitely keen on sticking around. He then goes on about the Jack Bowes trade at the Gold Coast and Ben Long. And he said Longy has requested a trade to the Gold Coast, so we'll explore that for him. We love Longy. He's a beauty, and we don't want to lose him. But that's the request that he's made. Sorry about that. We're all open to all these discussions with the Gold Coast. We've certainly talked about players as part of a potential trade, and we're open to all possibilities provided it fits within our list strategy. I'm not going to go into the specifics of it. Interesting that he's not. Well, not really, but we're certainly open-minded and have had discussions around players and picks. Interesting. He also mentioned that with pick 9, we are absolutely not trading that in any case. Pick 9, we're going to the draft and we're going to use it at the draft. So he's clarified that, which is good because I was a bit worried that pick 9 could be on the table somewhere. And then he also commented on Jordan Goey. And I mentioned yesterday that, it's pretty certain that Jordan Goey is going to sign on with Collingwood based on all the news that circulated. But then this has basically put a bit more fuel on the fire. And he mentioned that Goey would be an outstanding fit. He said, we've had a number of conversations with Jordan Goey and his management over a few months. He has a big decision to make and the time is coming pretty quickly for that decision. I anticipate that in the next 2 or 3 days, he'll make that call and that will shape a bit of what we'll do over the next couple of weeks. We think he'll be an outstanding fit to our footy club. He's an exceptional player and has plenty of footy ahead of him. We think he'll work in really well with our group and our club, but he is a Collingwood player and he's been there for a long time. It's a big decision for him, and I think we'll all know a bit more in the next couple of days. So clearly, James Gallagher is saying that we've not ruled ourselves. Well, we've not heard from his management about him signing on and that we're still a chance. And then I think earlier today, Damien Barrett mentioned that potentially there could be a third club, potentially Essendon, coming in late to pitch to Jordan Goey. So he may not have signed with Collingwood yet. I'm pretty confident from my source that is the case and he should stay at Collingwood. But the fact that now Essendon could be involved could be interesting. And obviously James Gallagher, he's not going to come out on trade radio and basically say, nah, there's no chance. He's going to continue to pressure Collingwood. And if they buckle and something happens last minute, well, I'll look a bit silly for saying that he's signing on with Collingwood, but at the same time, we're all going to be, I don't know, most of us will be pretty happy that we could land him. But at this point in time, I'm pretty confident we're not going to get him. But this sort of stuff seems to be changing by the bloody minute, which is really hard to report on, but I'm doing my best for you guys. So hopefully you appreciate it. But yeah, that's kind of the video. I just wanted to give you guys a bit more of an understanding on what happened earlier today with James Gallagher, the list manager, the guy that really would know the ins and outs better than anyone at the footy club, on Brad Hill, Hunter Clark, Ben Long, Jordan Goey, the Gold Coast situation. So the fact that he's not going into specifics there means that maybe we might be a bit at play there. So that's pretty exciting. So I'll keep an eye on that. And if I hear anything, I'll report it to you guys as soon as I can. Obviously, I fact check as much as I can. I know that some people on Facebook were a bit annoyed that I've kind of launched with the Jordan Goey stuff before anyone's reported it, but I have a couple of really, really reliable sources. So anyone that kind of questions stuff that I say, if it changes, obviously, yes, then it's wrong. But I'm really reporting in the moment exactly as I hear it. And yeah, that's the whole point of the video. So whether it changes or not, I guess is out of my control, but I'll report what I think is, as close to the truth as I can, and hopefully you guys enjoy the videos. And based on the reception they've had, looks like you guys are enjoying them. So I'll leave it there. That's the bit of an update. James Gallagher clarifying on Hunter Clark, Brad Hill, Ben Long, and Jordan Goey. Hunter Clark and Brad Hill look to be more likely to stay than leave. Ben Long, a bit devastated that he's leaving, but it looks like we're going to try and negotiate something with Gold Coast. It looks like everything's on the table for Gold Coast, picks, players, so it's going to be interesting to see what we do there. And then pick 9, we are not trading that in any case. We will go to the draft and we will use that on a young player, which is great to hear. So that's the news, Saners, for the day. I'll report on more when I can. Thank you very much for watching. Please like the video, comment your thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling about this whole situation. It feels like trade period's already open, but this is the week before. Next week's going to be nuts, so there's going to be a lot to report in the next week or two, that's for sure. So please like the video, Saners, comment your thoughts, and subscribe, and you'll get notified on all future videos. But until then, Saners, take care of yourselves, enjoy the rest of your week, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.